Welcome to the Pyrion Flax rebrand/redesign challenge. These challenges are where we take a stream or elements of and bring them into the 21st century with a lick of paint and some interesting animations, as you'll see later. So, Pyrion Flax, a Dota personality turned streamer of now many games, including football sims, Blood Bowl, a bunch of other things. Now member of the Yogscast as well, and generally an all-round great guy. I have been a fan of his stream for quite some time. Watched him for many years, subscribed on occasion, and his general stream aesthetic is pretty good. It's very very toned down, doesn't have an awful lot going on, no sort of fancy webcam display, but his alerts are funny, his stream transitions are funny, but there is one thing I cannot overlook. That subscriber list. The total subscribers, it's just plain text. I like what he's gone for, okay? So he's got it up against that side so as to try and minimize any impact on the screen. He just wants his camera as small as possible in one corner. He wants his list of total subscribers, because streamers like to have that, I guess, up against one side, but out of the way where it's not going to interact with any of what's going on the screen. He wants that space. So that is one thing we're going to keep in mind as we begin to develop our idea. Today's rebrand challenge is to replace that total subscribers banner. And as a little extra add-in, we'll also work on some alerts. So like a subscriber alert mainly, but you could rejig it to work for followers or gifts or bits or whatever. But we will have that as an optional module that he could turn off if he wanted to keep his current very funny subscriber alert. So the main thing is going to be that bar. Now, one thing we want to remember as we design this is that we need to keep it out of the way and small. And in fact, I think the best way of doing this is just to keep it over to that side as it already is. Here is the subscriber alert going off, and this is
just resubbed for 8 months.
I love it. It's great. So this is why we're going to allow for the old subscriber alert to work with the new banner. And I'll show you how we get to that. So here's some source material. This is what Pyrion Flax, this is what put him on the map. His Dota videos, his Dota guides, and you can see they're beautifully hand-drawn. It's a really good style. So we're going to take that idea and also take the sort of main character for those designs, his Skeleton King, now known as Wraith King. We're going to take that, give it a bit of a redraw, create a version of it with an open mouse. So we've got 2 versions of this. I'm going to save this, and this is going to be the basis for all of our designs. We're going to base it around this general idea. Now, we want something to put the subscriber list on. He has quite a long banner already, so we are just going to formalize that. We're going to turn it into a long banner. So we went for the beautiful sort of pencil type, crayon type marking around the outside. And then for the fill colors, I took a quick screenshot of some of his previous work and just tried testing a bunch of colors from some of the main characters in his old work. Of course, color can be changed at any point. This is something, if I was working for a client, I would say, what are your main colors? What are your primary and secondary colors for your stream, for your brand? We can develop those if they want, but if they have an idea, great, we'll just use those. So here we are creating the new subscriber alert. So it's just a little banner with the word new subscriber on it. We'll have to rejig that around later. We do also decide to go for a sort of a crest around the Wraith King head, because we are kind of going for that medieval-esque. He is a king, so it fits quite well. The sort of royalty banner type thing. So we'll save a bunch of these versions and then bring them into HitFilm Express, which is a free piece of editing software. I'll put links for it down below. It's great. Go and check it out. I'll have previous videos on that. In fact, you can check out the rebrand we did for ourselves that has more information. Anyway, we drag all of this inside. Here's me rejigging the new subscriber text because it was a little bit too far up. Right, now we just need to create, in order for it to flow slightly better, I'll just pause the video here. In order for this to flow slightly better, I wanted, as the new banner came down, the Skeleton King to just sort of glance down at it, just so it felt more flowy. It didn't sort of break any immersion. So we just created a little secondary banner of him looking down, and when you'll see in a second, when we animate the banner coming in, he will glance down at it, and then when it comes up, he'll look back up again. We do a similar thing with him turning left and right at a later point. So here we are in HitFilm Express building our alert. This again, we said this is the optional extra, but I do like to build some of the larger pieces first and then backfit the small pieces, so we know exactly how much space we're working with. We can try and minimize the largest area of work. So here we are animating our slider in. We're using a mask to make it disappear above, but I do want more. I don't want it to just reveal. I do want it to slide out, so we had to make the mask move in the opposite direction. It's all small little bits of editing here. Now we see we're turning that face around, so it looks in the opposite direction when this secondary banner fires out, which is where we will house the name of the subscriber. Now, here is the fun part, and this is why we created a version with the mouth open. We took a voice line from the Skeleton King, something about, you'll hear it later, it's something along the lines of, a new subject follows the Wraith King, or something like that. And then we match, using those two images, cutting them up and slicing them up, is voice pattern, the mouth lip syncing, effectively. So as he turns and you hear the new subject for the Wraith King, his mouth will actually move along with it, which I think was a really nice, just a little extra touch. You didn't need to do that, but it brought the whole sort of alert in together. And we'll do a similar thing for the optional extra of not having it, where I don't match it quite as perfectly. I'd like to spend a little bit more work on it, but I tried to limit myself on the amount of time I spent on this, where he just looked to the other side and tried to say, "Yeah, dickhead," or whatever it is that PFlax's friend says that's the current alert. So we exported that and we went on to the idle animation. Now, this is the idea of, as you can see in the current banner around my face, that a webcam overlay, or in this case a banner, you don't want it to just be completely static, because people's attention spans are very limited. So, let's pause it before we get ahead of ourselves. So we just animated the eyes to, as you can see in this shot actually, the eyes look down ever so slightly. So I think it's for 2 seconds every 30 seconds or so, the Skeleton King will just sort of glance down towards the game, towards what Pyrion Flax is doing, almost as if he's sort of having this sort of to and fro with PFlax himself. If I had a bit more time, I would probably add a couple more of these in. It's a little difficult. You don't want to go too heavy on it, but I'd maybe have him sort of look away and like whistle or something. Have a little graphic of him whistling. Something along those lines, just small idle animations. That's all you want for those. Anyway, we then move on to set this all up in Stream Elements after we exported it all as WebM files. So what we firstly do is we set up just the blanket video in the background, make it loop, and we add on our total subscriber count, which is just a widget within Stream Elements. I tend to use Stream Elements for these things. We then add the list of alerts, untick everything except for subscriber, because subscriber is all we are using here, and then we start the process of trying to balance things. This is what takes the majority of time in Stream Elements, is trying to correctly position the text and then eventually make it look pretty. So here you see we've actually got the text in the right place, and then we're trying to play with the animation of the text and mirroring it up perfectly with when the alert begins and ends. And we do get there in the end. It does take quite a little while and a lot of emulations. I was listening to the alert every single time it went off. There is a mute button, but I hadn't pressed it, so I got very accustomed to this alert. But yeah, eventually we did manage to marry it up. And this is all we need to do in here. Now we just spend a little bit of time making it prettier. I changed the text color. I go back and forward on the font a little bit, try to match it a little bit more to the new subscriber font that we have. And yeah, that's that's where we end in Stream Elements. You then want to take the URL from the little hyperlink button in the top right hand corner, and we'll drop that into OBS. And let's give this a whirl, shall we?
Yeah, me.
Echo saying it's interesting.
I'm moving again, Mark.
Another subject for the Wraith King.
I tried. Yeah. Blade.
And it should go back. That zips up. Total subscribers changed to 9. There we go. I would like to try and force the total subscribers to update more quickly, but unfortunately that's not possible in Stream Elements at present.
I thought he was.
But I'll have a look into that for a later date.
Bag of sand, isn't it?
Another subject for the Wraith
They got a
King.
phone box.
See, we're barely interrupting the stream at all. There is a small little cutout that comes away, but that's instead of what happens in the top left of the dickhead thing.
Morale,
which I
very
think
good.
we have an example of here.
After that win.
Chivago69 just resubbed for 8 months. I hope
I just see, I
nothing
didn't
else
quite
this sub inspires
marry
you
up the
to play
timing
more
of the
Refrain.
dickhead,
I'm
but you get
loving
the
what
picture
you're
there.
doing.
This is what the optional extra would be. We just take, I don't know, 5 minutes more of editing to go back and change that. But yeah, that was my rebrand challenge for Pyrion Flax. Just a small change, but it brings that stream into that next sort of level. I don't know about you guys, and this is coming from someone who spends a lot of time doing graphic design and such, but when I come into a stream and I see that base font up against one side, it doesn't stop me watching. It won't stop me watching. It's an eyesore in the corner. It's that beautiful street of pristine houses, and then that one turn into rubble, decadent house in the corner that is just an eyesore. So, our challenge here was to fix the eyesore, and I believe we did it. So, if any of you guys have an idea as to who I should rebrand next, or any particular challenges, I've got a couple of ideas in mind, but if there is anyone you think I should have a go with, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.